When three of YouTube's biggest stars announced that they were teaming up to take on Lunchables, parents thought they had finally found a solution to the school lunch problem. But with sales and relevance falling off, something very clearly went wrong. It all began in September 2024 as the internet lost its mind when Mr. Beast, KSI, and Logan Paul announced that they were teaming up for something completely unexpected. The trio revealed Lunchly, a pre-packaged meal kit which is their direct assault on Lunchables' billion-dollar empire, promising to deliver something the food industry had never seen before. For those who may not know, Lunchables are basically these pre-packaged do-it-yourself meal kits. They usually have things like crackers, deli meats, cheeses, treats, and come with a little drink. The timing was perfect, dropping right before the new school year when parents were already stressing about what to pack in their kids' lunchboxes. Every Lunchly kit would include prime drinks, Feastables chocolate, and what they claimed were significantly better ingredients than anything Lunchables had ever offered. According to the founders, Lunchly is a better option for those looking for a convenient, healthier choice compared to Lunchables, targeting health-conscious parents who want to give their kids something better without the guilt. The trio even made a video comparing Lunchly to Lunchables to show that their product is much more superior.
Lunchly versus Lunchables.
With Lunchly, you get double the amount of liquid.
Prime has no sugar added, more electrolytes, and more B vitamins.
Crunch Bar.
Boo.
Feastables Crunch
Yeah!
Starting from the ingredients,
Our pizza uses real cheese. Theirs, as it says on their box, is mozzarella pasteurized prepared cheese product. They can't even call it real cheese.
to compare the calories in each product,
22 grams of sugar,
10 grams of sugar,
7 grams of protein.
9 grams of protein.
while openly complaining about how bad Lunchables are.
Come in close and look at the queso cheese in Lunchly versus whatever that is. Drip versus stick. I like my cheese drippy, bruh. This is a Lunchly salsa right here. Look at the consistency, the texture. And this is Lunchables. Look, it's watery. I can't even look at that.
They also have a dedicated section on the main website just to highlight how Lunchly is much healthier than Lunchables. Within weeks, Lunchly secured shelf space at major grocery retailers like Kroger's and Albertsons across the country, something that typically takes new food brands years to achieve. And suddenly, parents everywhere were seeing Lunchly positioned right next to the Lunchables they'd been buying for decades. And not just that, content creators started writing the Lunchly trends and created videos like I only ate Lunchly for a week and Lunchly versus Lunchables, and even comedy skits to take advantage of the hype. Everything seemed perfect, the hype was massive, and parents were ready to make the switch. But there was one problem the trio hadn't anticipated, and it was that not everyone was buying into the hype. Destiny Moody, a registered dietitian, board-certified specialist in sports nutrition, and a personal trainer, published an article titled "Lunchly has really pissed off this dietitian. Here's why." She pointed out that despite marketing itself as healthier, Lunchly contained 25 to 35% of calories from saturated fat, way above the USDA's recommendation of just 10% for school lunches. Additionally, each of their meals contained 12 to 14% of calories from added sugars, which fails to meet the USDA recommendation that kids' lunches contain 10% or less calories from sugar. This growing nutritional backlash was already spreading across social media. But it wasn't until Dan TDM, one of the most respected family-friendly creators on the platform with nearly 30 million subscribers, joined the conversation. This is selling stuff for the sake of making money. Simple. How does this benefit their fans? This is selling crap to kids who don't know better than to trust the people who are selling it to them. Do better. Because he is a YouTuber who has built his entire career on being trustworthy, wholesome, and genuinely caring about kids' well-being, when Dan TDM speaks, parents actually listen. Within hours, the tweet had exploded across social media, with Dan TDM supporters rallying behind his message, praising him for speaking truth to power and protecting children from what they saw as another YouTuber's cash grab, with comments like, "None of them are passionate about health towards fans, only their wallets." So disappointing. And YouTubers are money hungry these days. I miss the old YouTube. But the Lunchly defenders weren't backing down either, arguing that Dan TDM was not any different. Bro wasn't complaining when he was making millions selling Dan TDM merch to kids. But the timing couldn't have been worse for the Lunchly trio. Just as they were building maximum momentum and excitement, one of the most trusted voices in the space had essentially called their entire project designed to exploit children. Instead of taking the more mature approach and addressing Dan TDM's concerns, KSI decided to go on full attack mode. KSI quote tweeted Dan TDM with a photo of Dan's own merchandise, adding the caption, "Looks like crap to me." But KSI wasn't done, as he immediately doubled down by exposing what he saw as Dan TDM's hypocrisy, pointing out that the family-friendly creator had promoted Munch Pack, which is a food subscription box targeted at kids, without receiving any backlash. KSI also pointed out Dan himself promoted other harmful products for kids in his video.
If you just type in Dan TDM sweets, there's countless of videos of him eating sweets, promoting sweets to his audience.
And he started bringing up other YouTubers who had released candy and sweets without facing the same level of criticism, naming Ryan Trahan and FaZe Rug as examples of creators who got a free pass for their sugary products.
Where was the same energy when Ryan Trahan released sweets? Where was the same energy when FaZe Rug released sweets? Now, I'm not throwing them under the bus.
Instead of addressing whether Lunchly was actually good for kids, KSI had turned this into a petty battle about who was allowed to sell products to children, and shifted to claiming that people were just hating on them for being successful.
It's because people just hate us. When it comes to Twitter, Twitter is just a cesspool of the most depressed people on this earth.
The internet community watched this meltdown in real time and was not impressed, with viewers saying KSI's ego has grown so much to the point where he actually believes that he hasn't done anything wrong. KSI trying to gaslight himself into believing he's winning this argument. But KSI's Twitter tantrum was just the beginning, because while he was busy attacking Dan TDM's toys and calling people depressed, actual medical experts were taking a much closer look at Lunchly's healthier alternative claims. Dr. Mike, a board-certified family medicine physician with nearly 15 million subscribers, decided to put Lunchly's health claims under the microscope. His first observation cut right into the most important aspect of a food product, nutrition. And when Dr. Mike compared Lunchly to actual nutritional standards for school lunches, he discovered a big problem.
USDA caloric guidelines say that a lunch meal for kids K through 8 should contain around 625 calories. Lunchly turkey contains only 230 calories,
which leads to even bigger consequences.
Which would mean a kid would need to eat about 2.7 portions to consume enough calories. And if they did that, they'd get nearly 1,300 milligrams of sodium, which is also significantly over the USDA standards.
But it got worse as Dr. Mike found that despite being marketed as a healthier option, Lunchly failed multiple nutritional standards.
Less than 10% of calories should come from saturated fat. Lunchly turkey, 23% of calories come from saturated fat. Less than 10% of calories should come from added sugars. Lunchly turkey, 10.4 comes from added sugars.
And gave viewers the ultimate verdict.
It's clear Lunchly, just like Lunchables, misses the mark too many times to be considered meaningfully healthier, at least in my opinion.
People all over the world agreed with Dr. Mike's videos, saying things like Lunchly is healthier than Lunchables is like saying drinking 23 beers a week is healthier than drinking 24. Technically, that's right. That's not a meal no matter how you think about it. That's feeding your kids with trash. But Dr. Mike wasn't the only medical expert paying attention. Dr. Brian Sutter, a sports medicine doctor, noticed that Lunchly had been pushing electrolytes as one of the key ingredients and one of the reasons why they're much better than Lunchables. So he decided to speak up with a tweet that would then go viral. Sodium getting rebranded as electrolytes will be taught in marketing textbooks one day. What Dr. Sutter meant by this is that sodium is the main electrolyte in energy drinks. But instead of just saying sodium, Prime rebranded itself as electrolytes because it was actually just potassium instead of sodium. But instead of addressing the science, Logan Paul chose to personally attack the medical expert with an aggressive tweet. Crazy how even a sports medicine doctor can't tell the difference between sodium and potassium, you idiot. In response to Logan Paul's tweet, Dr. Sutterer made an entire video titled The Truth About Electrolytes, Prime and Lunchly. In the video, he broke down the basics behind Prime and Lunchly's electrolyte marketing theme.
They advertise on the side of the bottle there are 834 milligrams of electrolytes, but what does that mean? It's primarily potassium. It's basically flavored coconut water. That's the number 2 ingredient is coconut water, and that's where you get a lot of that potassium.
While comparing Prime to other energy drinks on the market like Element.
But Element, 1,000 milligrams of sodium, 200 milligrams of potassium, and 60 of magnesium. So you compare that with Prime, one has 10 milligrams of sodium, one has 1,000 milligrams of sodium. One has 700 of potassium, 200 of potassium. When you have such extremes in what is being found in these beverages, you have to question what is actually appropriate.
And revealed that Prime wasn't even functional as the hydration drink it was claiming itself to be.
But the specific thing with Prime is that it doesn't have the amount of sodium that you need for optimal hydration, specifically with sweat loss.
Dr. Sutter also pointed out the real problem is the way people marketed Prime and Lunchly.
The challenge is that it's marketed with professional elite athletes consuming it as this optimal hydration electrolyte beverage that is good for you when you're exercising, good for your health, good for your hydration,
as well as how it's misleading buyers.
And so they're advertising it like it has these benefits with hydration that simply don't hold up when you look at the science based on the actual electrolyte composition.
And to nobody's surprise, Logan Paul's aggressive tweet united the whole internet against him with a lot of negative comments. Logan Paul getting on Dr. Sutter for simply spreading facts is wild. Bro is really desperate to make a health scam. The fact that Logan was so ready and willing to call a doctor an idiot just sums up how fit he is to be selling a product that's supposed to be good for your health. Just like KSI attacking Dan TDM personally, instead of addressing concerns about kids' products, Logan was now attacking a medical doctor personally instead of addressing the science behind their health claims. And similar to Dr. Mike, Dr. Sutter also posed the question that makes you think twice before using Lunchly.
Do you really think that the same beverage that should be used to hydrate elite mixed martial art UFC fighters training and sweating for hours is what you should drink at lunch when you're not sweating? And I think if you think about that, you'll realize that those are very different scenarios that should have very different hydration. And trying to market one thing as being applicable to all that is not good.
While Lunchly was already struggling with health experts destroying their marketing claims and Logan Paul attacking medical professionals, the legal system was about to catch up too. Lara Vera filed a lawsuit asserting that Prime's 12-ounce energy drinks contain 215 to 225 milligrams of caffeine, surpassing the advertised 200 milligrams. The lawsuit highlights that the caffeine content equates to half a dozen Coke cans, or nearly 2 12-ounce Red Bulls, which increase the likelihood of getting health risks like anxiety, digestive issues, heart issues, and insomnia. And that's not even the first lawsuit against Prime and Logan Paul, because there's another class action lawsuit from 2023 alleging that a flavor of their sports drinks contain PFAS or forever chemicals, which are synthetic chemicals found in various products that can accumulate in the body over time. And according to the CDC, studies in animals have shown that the chemicals could affect reproduction, thyroid function, the immune system, and liver function. But all of that would pale in comparison to what was coming next. It all started with a single YouTube video that would change everything. Rosanna Pansino, a famous cooking YouTuber with almost 15 million subscribers, created a video comparing Lunchly and Lunchables. As she was opening both meal kits for the blind tasting test, she discovered something absolutely disgusting.
These are molded. This is molded. That's mold. This is not safe. Especially like kids that are so young, they may not know what mold looks like, so they might just eat it.
But to make matters worse, her team just bought these Lunchly kits from the store.
We just got them from the store. It says used by December 8th, 2024. And today's date is October 16th. So these are supposed to be good for like another 2 months.
Within hours, the video had exploded across social media. But this wasn't just one isolated incident, as a few others have also discovered mold in their Lunchly meals and posted their experience on social media. The timing couldn't have been worse. Parents who had already been questioning Lunchly's health claims thanks to the medical medical experts, we're now seeing actual food safety disasters. And the comments were overwhelmingly negative, with people saying things like literally zero quality control on Lunchly, time to rebrand to Moldly. But of course, MrBeast's fans couldn't let this slide, as they started calling Pansino's video fake. You are full of crap. You can accelerate the mold growing, which I bet you did for click engagement. I think it's highly likely you placed it with moldy cheese to get clickbait. That's why we didn't see you actually peel back the plastic. Even someone from MrBeast's team were calling out Pansino for faking the video. So MrBeast's team is now trying to do damage control to the press. Did someone from MrBeast's team seriously just try to imply that I faked the mold in the Lunchly I bought? Is their PR move going to be smearing me when there are dozens of other reports of mold in their food? However, Rosanna Pansino's next tweet completely destroyed any doubts about Lunchly's quality. Had a lot of MrBeast fans spread the lie that I was faking the moldy Lunchly vid and would never post the full clip with no cuts. Well, here you go. I'm sure they will still not believe this is real, but maybe the dozens of other videos online showing moldy mozzarella cheese in Lunchlys will convince them. Again, please be careful eating these if you have them.
Yeah.
I think Howard would be the first. Is that the not version? Is that one?
These are molded.
The spread of the viral video showing a moldy Lunchly kit resulted in hundreds of stores checking and sometimes preemptively pulling stock just to be safe. Consumer confidence collapsed overnight, and the moldy cheese crisis had accomplished what all the Twitter drama and health expert criticism couldn't. It had made Lunchly actively dangerous in the minds of parents. For a brand that had launched just months earlier with massive hype and celebrity backing, these controversies hurt Lunchly's fast growth dreams, especially as retailers began to quietly adjust displays and monitor sales more closely. But while the internet was convinced that this food safety crisis had killed Lunchly entirely, the reality of what happened next would surprise everyone. The confusion started in late 2024, when some store employees put up signs making certain Lunchly kits as discontinued or unavailable, as well as influencers recording empty Lunchly shelves, fanning rumors that the entire brand was pulled. People even posted on Reddit to ask about the brand. Is Lunchly officially dead? Genuine question. Neither MrBeast, KSI, or Logan Paul have posted about Lunchly lately. Even the Lunchly socials have gone completely silent. They announced a few new products here and there, but nothing for months. I don't really hear anyone talking about it, and haven't noticed if it's in more or less stores in my area. Social media exploded with posts mocking the products with tweets like, "You can't spell Lunchly without an L." But here's what actually occurred. There is no formal announcement from Lunchly, its founders KSI, Logan Paul, MrBeast, or regulators like the FDA declaring a full discontinuation. And what happened was much smaller in scale. Some Lunchly flavors, or SKUs, were temporarily marked inactive or removed from certain store inventories. This happened most often in late 2024 and early 2025, especially after cheese mold concerns spiraled. The food safety crisis had triggered specific responses, not a complete brand shutdown, as no recall covered the entire brand. Smaller, lot-based recalls were enacted to solve the mold issue, then replaced with new batches. When industry analysts actually investigated the discontinuation claims, they found in most cases, only specific Lunchly varieties, like turkey stacks, went missing or were temporarily pulled. Even major chains like Kroger's still carried at least 2 Lunchly varieties into mid-2025. While some stores had completely removed the products, others were still actively selling them months after the supposed death of the brand. And for most stores, the empty shelves weren't permanent because retailers clarified that discontinued for now meant only until safety checks or restocks passed quality control. And while physical stores were pulling products and putting up discontinuation signs, Lunchly kits also remained available online during this whole period. Even users on Reddit also noticed the same thing. They've barely promoted it, but have noticed it a lot more in stores these past few months. It notably is more expensive than Lunchables. Here they are at my local Aldi last weekend for nearly $2 more than comparable Lunchables. While Lunchly survived the moldy cheese crisis, the damage to their reputation was severe. The search interest just dropped after the launch, and by now it's basically flatlined, showing that people simply stopped caring about Lunchly. The brand that had launched with promises of being a healthier, safer, and better alternative than Lunchables was now fading into oblivion and got associated with food contamination and other nutrition controversies. As of August 2025, the founders who had been so vocal during the launch and early criticism have gone notably quiet about the brand's current status. Lunchly is proof that even influencers can save a bad product. Even the biggest social media names can't mask a poor product experience. They had 3 massive creators, unlimited hype, instant distribution, and parents ready to believe in a healthier alternative. But when medical experts exposed their health claims as marketing tricks, when customers found mold in their food, and when the founders responded to criticism with personal attacks instead of product improvements, all the celebrity power in the world could not save them. The brand technically survived, but their reputation never recovered. If you enjoyed this video, you'll probably enjoy these next ones as well, and don't forget to subscribe.